Welcome to the Sunday night call, everyone. We're so glad to see your beautiful faces on here for another amazing week in Isagenix and in all of our personal lives. It's a glorious day. It's been such a beautiful weekend here in Knoxville, and I went and I got my nails done today. I got my eyebrows waxed today. I'm circulating the economy, and I was like, I am feeling so good. And I was really looking forward to our time together on this call, just because of the energy and really the buzz of what's happening in the network marketing space. And with Isagenix. James and I have been talking to you guys for a couple years, probably for the past 2 years, of saying, hey, there's going to be a new wave that's coming to Isagenix. It is going to be a new wave where people are going to join this company and people are going to be a part of Isagenix, and you're going to see your business go to levels that you've never seen and that you've never gone before. And we've been saying that, envisioning the future of the times and seeing the times. Now, none of us knew that COVID-19 was going to happen, but what began to take place about 6 to 7 weeks ago was when everything began to kind of shut down, and now, praise God, things are opening back up again, which is amazing. But what happened was there began to be a new circulation of energy wrapped around network marketing. And Isagenix specifically began to explode in new ways. All of you on this team, Ellen and Jennifer and Leslie and Dom and Derek and Patty and all of you that I've been watching, Caroline, your teams are going to this next level. And what we want to do and what we want to say on this call tonight is we just want to push the pedal down on the gas even more to keep this momentum up, because we really believe that we're entering into the times that we've been talking about for a couple years now. I mean, really believe it. The proof is in the numbers and the statistics with Isagenix. The proof is in the energy that you're feeling. In the ISA Academy, for those of you that tuned in yesterday, it was phenomenal training. And if you missed yesterday's call, James and I, we were talking, we want everybody to go back to the very beginning and at least just listen to David Wood and Zach Slobin. If you don't listen to the whole entire 4 hours, go back and listen to about 45 minutes. That's all it'll be, is about 45 minutes to David Wood and Zach Slobin. And I uploaded the link on Freedom Living Team Business. It was absolutely phenomenal. And so we are really excited about the future of this team and about where we're going because of the times. Now, I want to say one thing, and I'm going to let James kind of talk as well. Celebration 2020 that was happening in Salt Lake City is going to be virtual, which means everybody can tune in. What we are committing to is James and I have already purchased our tickets to University in Action in Charlotte, North Carolina, the very first weekend in October. And I want you guys to write that down. The money, if you already purchased your celebration ticket, you can get a refund, or you can get your tickets transferred to another event that's coming up. What we want to encourage Freedom Living Team to do is to either transfer your ticket to come to the University in Action that's taking place in Charlotte, North Carolina, or get the refund and purchase your ticket. We want everybody to be in that live event, because David Wood goes in depth of breaking down fear, of breaking down mindset, and really exploding you and taking you to new levels in your Isagenix business by really diving very deep. It's a much more in-depth level training versus how to connect, how to duplicate, how to show the comp plan. It's a revolutionary event. And so I want you guys to write that down. And if you can commit the first weekend in October, absolutely. It's a UIA. Patty Jelinek went in Dallas in 2018, and she said it's a very powerful event. So we just want to invite you to that with us. We already purchased our tickets. That particular event is known to sell out. So if you guys want to hop on board and get those tickets, you can purchase them in the back office.
Well, and with everybody that is now there's a craving now for human interaction. There's a craving now to get to a live event. So when people announce, and when Isagenix announces events, you know, usually that you can say, oh, you know, they're saying it's going to sell out just as kind of like a marketing thing, but now they really are actually going to sell out because everybody's just wanting to get to an actual live event. And we say this over and over again, you know, there's nothing that replaces an in-person thing, yet we are here witnessing before our very eyes a transition when it comes to communication and how we are building business. And maybe those who have been resistant to doing Zooms or FaceTimes or, you know, really leveraging the technology that we have are now being forced to do so. And I believe wholeheartedly that's only going to cause more growth in all of our organizations. And I would actually love, Patty, would you mind to just give us a little insight into that week? And if maybe, you know, you could just say, hey,
just 2 days. So.
You know, yeah, or that's what I meant. I cut my train of thought onto the next one, the weekend. But if you could just give us a synopsis of why we should do whatever we can to get into that room, and maybe some things that you left with that maybe were different than other events. I'll unmute your line.
Hey, everybody. There is nothing like being in the room with David T.S. Woods. I mean, you saw him, I don't know if you got to see that event from Australia. And then, of course, Isagenix Academy. But when you're live in person and his energy is there, it's phenomenal. He just pours belief into you, and not just belief, but practical ways of dealing with your mind. And you practice while you're there. You practice with others, you practice your story, you practice how to connect. And then he also has Isagenix leaders there, and they put real numbers up on the whiteboard so you know what you have to do. Sometimes you think, well, what do I actually, how many conversations do I have to have? And they put the numbers on the board. So you know how many thousands of conversations you have to have depending on what level you want it to. And then before you leave there, you pick up your phone and you start working before you leave that event. So it's a very practical event. It's much smaller. So when they say it's going to sell out, it's going to sell out, especially when it's in Charlotte.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Love it. Thank you for that, Patty.
So good. So everybody, get your tickets. Most of you in the southern region, that's a really easy drive. I know we've got team all over the country, but you know, if you start making plans now, we can get our team there, and that can be our in-person event. So, did you have something you wanted to say?
Well, I would guess that's probably going to be our first in-person event that we're going to have as a company. And so there's just, let me tell you, there's going to be some special energy there, I would imagine. And, you know, being around the energy is everything, right? Mm-hmm. Getting around the things that are happening, hearing the tactics, seeing the people that are doing it, being in that, you know, environment. There's really nothing that can replace that at all. What were you going to say?
No, that was it.
So I want to talk and go back to what Odd was saying about Isagenix Academy. Who, comment in the chats, who was on Isagenix Academy? Who got to tune in even just for a little bit? I know it was long. Comment in the chats if you got to, you know, take something away. And if you do happen to have your notebook in front of you of something you gleaned from it, you know, what was one of the nuggets that really stood out to you? I want to just reiterate yet again, that beginning segment with David Wood and Zach Slobin, the amount of value that was given in that first hour. If you had the ears to hear, if you had the eyes to see what was spoken and really, really impressed on everybody that was listening. I mean, you guys, those two individuals alone, and there was just an absolute myriad of amazing trainers throughout the day, but those two leaders alone and how they've articulated, there's been so much experience that those two have, you know, really endeavored in with other people, breaking through their own minds, helping other people break through their minds. But it's so, what disheartens me, if I can be really honest with you guys, is when I see a training like that take place and so many people get excited, but I feel that there's certain people or maybe somebody that, you know, I know could really resonate that, and they miss it. They miss what was spoken, and they go, oh, well, where's another training? You know, where's something else, you know, that I can glean from or pour into. And we can get so quick to move on to the next thing without really letting the thing that was just spoken to us, just imparted to us, to really embody that ourselves. And if you tuned into, half of yesterday, all of yesterday, an hour of yesterday, let me tell you, you got some amazing training, and all of which could be applied right away. Now, the application, that's on you, that's on me. And so, the mother and son team, yes, Cindy and Tyler Walters, they were phenomenal, right? And there's so many different aspects of how to do this. So if you did not, and even if you did, there's so much power in repetition. Go back and let that sink over your mind and pour over your mind, because there's so much power to that.
Yeah. Were you finished?
Go ahead.
Okay. So, with that being said, one of the things that is really exciting right now is there's so many new people who are joining y'all's organization. So many new people who are joining your teams. And what James and I have been preaching and have been sharing and have been working in 7 years is to simplify everything so that there can be massive duplication, because we know that the name of the game is duplication. And so as, James and I have been talking, and we are talking about, okay, with all of these new people who are coming in, your posture when wanting to take your team to a deeper level of leadership, whether that's consultant or manager or director or executive, we want to keep it as simple as possible. Joy Stevens and I were having an amazing conversation today, where she's really been coaching her team to understand the simplicity of connecting with new people. So the name of the game really in Isagenix is how many touches can you have? The fortune is in the follow-up. How many connections can you have? Well, you go to a deeper level of leadership and your residual income really begins to compound when you can begin to teach the people that you're bringing in the simplicity of the duplication process. Now that first begins with you guys. That first begins with James and I. It begins with number one, our posture. So the posture in which you're speaking to people, the posture in which you're sharing with them how simple this whole entire process is. And Zach Slobin really did talk about this a lot. He talked about this a lot in his training. But the way that you position yourself in not being the expert, but using the tools, is going to trickle down into your organization, which is going to cause duplication. So when you have somebody new, and I look at my ISAPulse, I am seeing people joining this team like crazy. Now, the key is to take the people that you're bringing in and to cause the lights in their brain to flip on to start sharing Isagenix with other people. So what we want to do as leaders is we really want to simplify the process in showing them and teaching them how easy it is to send a tool. Now, that might sound trivial, and that might sound, well, duh, odd. Like, you've been saying send a tool for years. Like, I send a tool all the time. But again, this isn't for you. You want to put yourself in the position of what is going to maximize your efforts in your leadership development within your organization. So the more that you can dumb things down as a leader and really teach and train your team how effective and efficient they can be by sending the Isagenix Advantage video, and that less is more, you're going to see a much more compounding effect in your organization than you've seen ever before. And one of the reasons why I'm really talking about this tonight is because of how many new customers are joining because of the new wave that's here. And if we can get this whole new class of 2020, your class of 2020, Ellen and Leslie and Jennifer and Kathleen and Derek and Melissa and Danny, if we can get your class of 2020 to understand that they don't have to be product experts, that they don't have to know the compensation plan right now in and out. Now, all of you who are on this call right now, I'm looking at your faces. I know your goals in Isagenix. Many of you want to be six-figure earners. So you understand the compensation plan. You know the compensation plan. You know how to teach the compensation plan. But for your brand new person, they don't need to know those things right now. What they need to know is the belief that you have in them of the simplicity of how easy it is to grow this business simply by sending and casting the vision of a tool to the people that they are connecting with.
And to that, one of the things that I took some nuggets away, I loved what David Wood said about what feels awkward today isn't going to feel awkward in 5 years. What feels uncomfortable today isn't going to feel uncomfortable in 10 years. And sometimes we can get so laser focused on, oh man, this is, this feels uncomfortable. I'm afraid that they're going to say no. I'm afraid that, the pain, I love how he said that, fear is just the anticipation of pain. I'm afraid of what, these people are going to think. But getting to the point of saying, okay, what feels uncomfortable now is not going to feel uncomfortable in 5 years from now. And envisioning that. And then 2, going to what Zach said, this powerful line of saying, I can do that too. In everything you do in this Isagenix business of yours and sharing this with people, it's a value to you that the person you're sharing this with, the person you're coaching in this business, they tell themselves, I can do that too.
Yeah.
What Kathleen's doing with me right now, I can do that too. It's very opposite. It's very counterintuitive because we instinctively kind of want to be the intellect, right? We want to be the person with all the answers. We want to be the person that can just, wow, and oh, look at how much these people know. Oh my goodness, there's such a wealth of knowledge. But what's even more empowering is when somebody looks at Leslie and goes, you know what? I can do that. That wasn't that hard. I can do that too. She just shared she sent me a link. She really didn't even say much. I know she probably knows more about these products, but I have 3 girlfriends of mine that would love to do this too. I can do the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. And so, last week we talked about the leader in action formula. Now I have it right here. Look at, we have it. Did anybody print theirs out? Anybody print their leadership in action formula? Come on, there we go. I see it. And you'll see we have our numbers. We're filling our numbers out. We're doing this along with you guys every single week. We're doing it. And I'll tell you what, I'll say it one more time. The people who track their numbers are going to be the people that have the growth. What you track, you attract. Okay? If you want to grow it, you have to track it. And
it is a very, very good accountability. Like I was, looking at the personally enrolled rank advancement and I was seeing that it was blank and I was like, I've got to help somebody. I have to help somebody. And if I didn't have this piece of paper in front of me, I really wouldn't have been held accountable. So the things that we share with you, it's not because we're just sharing them with you to share them with you. Like we do these things because we've seen what the fruit has been in our own life. And we share them with you because we desire for you to experience the growth and the success of your dreams with Isagenix. And so we know that this is a huge tool in looking at it and seeing it because it does hold you accountable and you say, oh, wow, like I could go for one more in the personal enrollment this week. I saw many of you are doing 11-day challenges with people. That's brilliant and amazing. And in this particular square of the 1 PET, it's 100 BV and above. So how accountable has this been for you? And so it's been really amazing for us.
So in looking at that, and again, this is all about bringing clarity. This is all about bringing simplicity and giving you, a framework. And I saw that there was many people that really resonated with the whole framing analogy and framing the prospect or framing the conversation. But this whole framework goes alongside the business as well, where if you know the action steps you need to take in order to yield the highest amount of growth, then it's very simple. And you can wake up in the day and say, okay, you know what? Right now we have 2 enrollments for the month of May. That's good. We're on track with that. We have 2 PET enrollment points. Maybe we're at 0 points in the personal enrollment category. So that tells me, like Aud was just saying, you know what? We need to help somebody go rank advance. Let's go. Well, who can? And then you go into your back office. You look at your team, you look at your customers, you see somebody's shared it with one person. Oh my goodness, they only need, 1 order of 100 BV on their other leg to become a consultant, and boom, that not only helps them get paid and maybe they get the crystal consultant bonus, they get a couple $100s in their pocket. They're just elated because they really didn't think that this could pay them that much. And you've just moved your business forward, and you've really from a corporate and company-wide standpoint, you've hit the figures and the action steps that's going to grow your business. So when we're looking at everything that was, talked about yesterday, sometimes it can feel very exhausting. Sometimes it can feel very long-winded, and you're like, wow, there's so many different things, going on. It seems like there's so many different variables. But I will say it again. If you did not print this off this past week, I encourage you to do so. And I don't say that just to give you busy work. I don't say it to make you feel like you're back in school and you have an assignment. This is for you. But if you're on this call, and this is what either David or Zach said, I urge you to treat this like a business. if you want this to pay you like a business where you're making $200 a week residually, you're making $500 a week residually, you're making $1,000 a week residually, that's big business. And so there needs to be aspects of this that you run like a business. And one of them is knowing where you're at, what actions you need to do this coming week to propel that going forward. And this leader in action, we're only in the month of May. So I talked about walk, jog, sprint. So we're walking, and like Aud was saying, with this big influx that's taking place right now, and the big, guys, people are coming to Isagenix in droves like we haven't seen almost in 10 years. But what's even more important than that is that we are so simplified in the systems of saying, okay, I can do this too. I can do this too. Ellen, she can enroll somebody, and then that person can go feel the simplicity of that enrollment and go enroll somebody else and become a consultant very seamlessly, right? And many times that has to do more with what we're not saying than what we are saying. So Zach said, if your lips are moving, it should be pointing to somebody towards a tool. I can really not do that very well, right? I can just talk. But let's all remember this week, and I challenge all of us, if your lips are moving with somebody that's either a prospect, with somebody that's a customer, with somebody that wants to build the business, that should be guiding them to a tool. Mm-hmm. One of the places you can go right now is isagenixtoolkit.com. Write that down, isagenixtoolkit.com. Isagenix is put in, and they keep updating it, all of the things when it comes to the new BIA, the whey thins, the oat bakes, all of these things. They have little clips from Dr. Plant, from Sarah Richter of what this product is. Then they have, what to show, what to say, what to share. And they have all of this stuff right here, right in front of you. So if somebody comes to you and say, hey, how do I talk about the BIA? No, stop. Instead of saying, oh, let me just give me 5 minutes. Let me just break down everything that's in BIA. Say, hey, why don't you head over to isagenixtoolkit.com, and there's a little, 2-minute video that Dr. Plant does explaining all of it. Now, that could feel like you're not doing as much work, but trust me, you're doing so much more for that person and your organization by guiding them and showing them, hey, I can do this too. Is this making sense? Mm-hmm. Is this resonating with you guys? Okay.
And then finally, the last thing that I want to say, were you finished with your thought? Okay. And then finally, the last thing that I want to say is that we are living in a time right now with the influx of people that people are seeking and they're searching and they're in need of someone to lead them. Again, Joy and I had a really amazing conversation today. And I'm watching what's happening within Joy and Micah Stevens' team right now. And they're having deep levels of leadership within their organization. And Joy has been around, plugged in, getting herself to the events, doing the do with life happening like all of us have for nearly 2 years. And what's happened is I asked her today, I was like, what do you think? Like, what are you most excited about right now? And she was rattling off the leaders who are really, really growing. And I was like, well, what is one of the things that you attribute that to? And she was like, I always am connecting with my leaders every other week. She was like, I have a phone conversation with them that isn't just texting. It isn't just a voice memo, but to check in on them and see how they are and to check in with their goals and to understand what it is that they're doing. And by doing that, what's happened is many of you were on the call with Allie Lawhorn when she went 1-star. And that was such a profound call with her energy and her talking about how for the first a little over a year, Allie didn't treat this as a business and she wasn't getting the results that she wanted. But Joy was very consistent with her and was very coaching with her. And slowly the cogs in Allie's brain started to turn and it just clicked. And all of a sudden emerges this amazing leader now on Freedom Living team who is cycling amazing every single week. Why? Because it took consistent leadership in her life to pour into her and to show her what's possible. So I say all of that to say you all have people that you're bringing into your organization. You have people that you have already brought in. And it doesn't really matter how long I've been in Isagenix. It still feels really good when Herb and Patty checks in on me and James. And they say, hey, I really want to hear, like, how are you guys doing? Like, tell me about your leaders. So it doesn't matter how long you've brought your people in or how long they've been in Isagenix. Take the time to connect with them and ask them how they're doing. That is what is going to separate you as a strong leader who's going to lead the pack versus somebody who's just doing this as a really awesome little side gig. It will take your business to the next level when you take responsibility for the people in your organization and you remain consistent with them. The people who we see who are constantly rank advancing and they're, top enrollers and they've got cycles out the wazoo within Freedom Living Team, it is because they have taken the time to invest in people over and over and over and over again. So I wanted to share that with you tonight as you're going into this new week, to take into your mind, okay, how can I simplify all of the new people that I'm bringing in to show them how easy it is to just send a tool so I can duplicate my efforts? And number two, who is in my organization that I can step up and be a leader to help them grow, breaking through old barriers of mindsets, growing into how to become the person who can hit Crystal Executive. When you can begin to change your mindset and really develop those people who are in your organization, guys, I am telling you right now, every single year in Isagenix, it just compounds over and over and over again. And the leaders that you're pouring into today, even though you might think, dang, did they even hear anything that I was saying on that call? You remain consistent with them, because 1 year later, you could be, having the next Leslie Ford on your team who's cycling 5-7 times every single week now. Come on, that's amazing. So just think about that as you're moving forward and as you're really wanting to develop the leaders within your organization.
Guys, that's it. That's really it. There's so much more ease coming in this business. This is something that, given the nature of the marketplace, the nature of buying habits, consumer habits, and the nature of technology, this is a business that is becoming more and more fluid, where us being able to attract and direct people into Isagenix to have an amazing experience is only increasing. So if you feel that you've had an amazing experience with Isagenix at this standpoint, from a product standpoint, or in the financial, just know that it's only getting better. What I love that's happening right now within the Fab and within corporate is they're looking down the road. They're looking at, we can't get bogged down with all this stuff that's happening right now in the world. We just can't. The people who are going to make the most of this time, they're already looking into October, November, December. They're out of this stuff. They're saying, okay, we're here. Okay, this is the reality. I'm not going to gripe about it. I'm not going to kick about it, scream about it. We're here. How can I make the most of this? How can I be somebody that people look to and they say, you know what, Mary, she's got it. She's somebody that seems to be already through this. She's on to the next thing. She's moving on. Claude, he's so motivated. Nobody in my world is like that. I want to link up with what he's doing right now, because all of his posts, his energy is just so enthusiastic. Like Aud was saying about Allie the other week, that cannot be replaced. Mm-hmm. But as the whole conversation of this world seems to be so focused right here and now, it's almost like, June and July doesn't even exist. Mm-hmm. Let's be those that are continuing more than ever to not only casting visions for other people, but to be quiet enough to envision our own life in October, November, December. The team. Who do you want on your team? What kind of environment do you want? What kind of activity? What kind of posts do you want to see on your, on your newsfeed that your teams are posting, the success that they're having, the rank advancements? Envision those things daily and just see how things start to come to pass, those that you have envisioned. Because I know that I'm not the only one, and there's probably everybody on this line could attest the power of envisioning things, right? And so in that, if you haven't taken the time, if you didn't get to watch the IC Academy, trust me, I'm not saying it, we're not pressuring it or telling you for any other reason, just then we know the value that is going to be there for you. And if you watched it and you want to watch it again, it's only going to bring you more value. Leader in Action formula, that's where it's at. If you were wondering what to do, reach up to an upline, reach out to any leader, and
get your tickets to University in Action.
Get your tickets to University in Action. You guys, we are so excited. I just got a case of mango mimosa or mango mimosa. I'm gonna chill this thing down and have one first thing in the morning. So a lot of new exciting things coming, you guys. We love you so much. We're so proud of you, and we're excited for the future that's ahead. We'll be on this call at the same time next week. All right.
Bye, guys.
See you guys.